moment.
Chicago Cubs baseball on Channel 9. The Cubs are brought to you by Michelob Dry. Bold taste with no aftertaste. Mick Dry refreshes completely. Buick and your better Buick dealers. Home of the most trouble-free American cars.
What a beautiful day for baseball or for anything else. Hello again, everybody. Harry Carey of Wrigley Field. This is the scene of the third, final, and rubber game of the series between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs hurt the Pirates yesterday as they shut them out 5-0. And the Mets won their game, so they're a full game ahead of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Did you see how the Mets won? They were beaten in the ninth with 2 out. They'd used everybody they possibly could use except pitchers. Every regular player on the roster had already been used. The only man left was Tim Tuffle. He went up to pinch hit. He hit a home run. It tied the ball game in the top of the ninth, and the Mets went on and won it in the 11th. We know that those are the kind of games teams win when they're headed for a championship. But nobody's conceding such a championship yet to the New York Mets. Certainly not the Pittsburgh Pirates, and above all, not the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs are still 13 games out. But today, they're joined by the Rookie of the Year a year ago, Jerome Walton, who's been moved up from the farm club where he's under rehab to the Cubs today, and he's starting his familiar position in center field. And there you see Jerome. Jerome played a few games in the minor leagues, and he recovered quickly. I guess it didn't take long getting those minor league laundry checks and food checks to realize that the place to be is in the major league. Well, that's it. We'll be back now. We got do I hear correctly that Mary Frances Beck is here? And she is sitting in the very same seat that the late Bill Beck used to sit in when he was here at Wrigley Field so many times before he passed away. And what a loss for baseball, the death of Bill Beck. But his widow is here, a wonderful lady. I can't make out who she's talking to. I wish she'd lean back. Now we get a better look at her. And Mary Frances has a familiar hat on. I know that's how you've happened to find her. Now, Arnie, knowing your reputation for finding hats, you just scoured the bleachers until you found one that you thought would qualify, and that's the one that Mary Frances Beck is wearing. And that's the very same seat that Bill Beck, as I mentioned before, used to sit in, and I imagine he's kept it warm for her all this time. All right, we're about ready now to go into our national anthem. Stay with us, and then we'll be back with a starting lineup.
By Gary Pressey at the Lowry organ and the singing and playing of our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in our, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
again, it's a packed house, standing room only. The umpires are huddled around the plate. Here are the lineups for today's game. For the Pirates, Gary Reedus at first. Jay Bell is short. Andy Van Slyke in center. Bobby Bonilla in right. Barry Bonds in left. Jeff King at third. Don Slaught catching. Jose Lean at second base. And John Smiley, 25-year-old left-hander, is on the hill. He has won 4 and he has lost 5. You know, he broke his hand trying to get into his automobile earlier in the year. We'll tell you more about that later. Here's the lineup now for the Cubs. Jerome Walton, last year's Rookie of the Year, who's played very little this season because of injuries, is in center field. Ryan Sandberg at second. Sean Dunston at short. Andre Dawson in right. Luis Salazar at third. Mark Grace at first. Doug DeCenzo in left. Joe Girardi catching. And Steve Wilson, a left-hander who has won 3 and lost 6, will be the pitcher. The umpires are Jerry Lane behind the plate, Paul Runge at first, Jerry Davis at second, and Mike Winters at third. Beautiful, beautiful day for baseball. There's the Cub defense with Walton back in center field.
Wind a little different today than it's been the last couple of days. It's blowing toward the left field corner. So it's going to aid the ball into left field as Steve Wilson makes his 28th appearance of the year. It's his 12th start. Last time out against Montreal was in relief. He pitched 2 1/3 innings, gave up 1 hit and no runs. The time before that against St. Louis was his shortest start of the year, going just an inning and a third against the Cardinals, giving up 5 earned runs. One of the big outings this year for Steve Wilson is one of the reasons why he was catapulted back into the starting rotation. That was a relief appearance against these same Pittsburgh Pirates in Pittsburgh, where he went 6 innings, gave up just 2 hits and 1 earned run while fanning 7. So he'll have to contend with Barry Bonds, who hits left-handers better than right-handers, and Don Slaught, who's in a platoon system behind the plate and carries a .345 batting average.
Well, let's identify the honorary bat boy and bat girl today. The bat boy is Ryan Nagel, and the cute little bat girl is Crystal Rizzo.
Jerome Walton just activated, which meant that someone had to go down, and unfortunately that someone, very popular Lloyd McClendon, who really never got on track this year. He had just 10 RBIs, one of them coming on a grand slam early in the season. So Lloyd's going to work out his difficulties at AAA, and Jerome Walton is getting a start in center field. He said that his hand is not painful whatsoever, but he feels he's still just about a week away from swinging the bat like he knows he can.
It's amazing that when you stop to think, here's the prize, the Rookie of the Year a year ago, played very little this season because of injury. Their best pitcher, Rick Sutcliffe, out of action a long time and is still out of action. Their number 1 catcher, Damon Berryhill, hasn't played a single game for the Cubs this year. As we talk about switching 9 games from the loss side over the win side, and even with these injuries, it would have been very easy to do. Games that they seemingly had won, eventually they lost. You can see it wouldn't take much to be in much more serious contention than they are now. First pitch, Gary Reedus takes a ball, strike over the outside corner. Reedus, very fast, good power. Pitches outside. Surprised Reedus has stolen only 5 bases. In 8 attempts, have almost thrown him out, as many as he was saved. He's very fast. 1-1 pitch. Boy, he swung from the heels trying to hit the left field. Dribbled it off the end of the bat and rolled out to Mark Grace at first. 1 out.
Gary Reedus took a good healthy cut. This is an off-speed breaking ball, and he cues it to Mark Grace, who wins the race.
Steve, is that what they mean when they yell at the hitter? Why don't you hit him while you're looking?
Quit pulling off the ball.
Here's Jay Bell. hitting .272. 4 homers, 34 RBI. Fine ball player. He's 3 out of 7 in this series. Swings hard and he fouls it back.
Jay Bell has come a long way, and one of the reasons why he has come so quickly is the fact that Milt May, the hitting instructor, convinced him that there are certain situations you just have to hit the ball to right and right center field. Normally, Bell is a dead pull hitter.
There's a single to center. Bell lines a single to center. That makes him hitting .500 for the series, 4 out of 8. And here is Andy Van Slyke. He's been a hot hitter too. 3 out of 5 in the 2 games of the series. For the year, he's hitting .347 against the Cubs, facing the left-hander Steve Wilson.
Gene Lamont's the third base coach, and one of his relatives, Mark Lamont, just suffered a broken leg and is rehabilitating, and Gene wants to wish him well.
The delivery a little bit low.
Van Slyke hitting .263 this year against left-handers. It doesn't sound like much, but in years past, he's hit under .200 against left-handers, so he's made a couple of adjustments. One of the things that Milt May said was that he's kind of given up the idea of hitting the ball out of the park against the lefties, and he's just tried to shorten his swing and make a little more contact.
There's a drive in the left field, and it is going in the foul territory into the stand. 1 ball, 1 strike. Boy, he had a good cut of the fastball.
Bell has stolen 8 bases this year, been caught 4 times. He's not one of the speediest members of the Pirates, but he does run well. Their runners are R.J. Reynolds, who's stolen 10 out of 11. Of course, Barry Bonds, who's stolen 35 and been caught just 7 times.
I want to say hello to Albie Anderson, past potentate of the Medina, head of Portable Tools. Great friend of my late good friend, Jack Gaughan. Good friend of Jack's widow, Peggy. And I hope Albie's feeling very well. Albie Anderson, with a million of friends in the Chicago area. There is a strike call. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, I think the secret to good pitching is good location. I don't care who the pitcher is. When he can throw it where he wants to, he can get you out. But if he makes more mistakes in his locations than correct pitches, he gets knocked out and beaten. I guess that's a very simple analysis of good pitching. Throw it where you're aiming to. Throw to first, runner back.
It's a statement, Harry, that says wild in the strike zone. And if you're throwing strikes, sometimes that's not enough, because if you throw very hittable strikes down and into left-handers, high strikes to right-handers out over the plate, usually you're going to get hurt.
Now the pitch. A high drive, it might be out of here. And it is a home run. Andy Van Slyke, who's always been weak against left-handers, just puts the Pirates ahead with a home run into the left field bleachers. Holy cow, did he cream that one.
Home run number 11, RBIs 44 and 45 for Van Slyke. He went the other way. We told you about the wind blowing out to the left field corner, aiding the ball to left field, and that's exactly what it took for Van Slyke to put the Pirates up by 2. Home run number 14 given up by Steve Wilson. This is a breaking ball that stays up and out over the plate, and Andy Van Slyke knew just what to do with it.
Now the pitch swung by Bobby Bonilla. Wilson knew he was throwing another home run pitch as soon as Van Slyke swung at the ball. 1 out, 2 in. Bobby Bonilla takes it inside.
Luis Salazar has got to get close to the line at third, because right-handed Bonilla is much more of a pull hitter than he is left-handed.
There's the pitch over the outside corner. One ball, 2 strikes. Curveball into the dirt, 2-2. 14 home runs in 93 innings given up by Wilson. That's an awful lot.
Bonilla calls this the best park to hit in the National League. He says he loves the hitting background, that sea of green in straightaway center field. More than any other park, he says he's able to see the ball particularly well here.
There's another drive way back. Near the might be out of here, and it is. And Bonilla hits his 22nd home run of the year. And it's 3-0 in favor of the Pirates.
RBI number 69 as Bobby Bonilla, for the 8th time, hits one out right-handed. 14 home runs from the left side, and he got it up in the wind and it went out of the park.
Five of his 22 homers have been against the Chicago Cubs this year.
See that fastball up and out over the plate. That is the danger spot to the right-hand hitter.
That's the 15th home run thrown by Steve Wilson this year. The pitch a little bit inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, there were some dramatic home runs hit yesterday. Barry Bonds swings and misses. Tim Tuffle was the last player other than a pitcher left to be used last night. He stepped up and hit a pinch home run in the 9th with 2 out to tie the ball game for the Mets. Another base hit, another left-hander. Lines a single to left, and the bullpen better guard start to work. If they're going, there they go. Jeff Pico gets up.
Unfortunately, he gets a derisive hand from the crowd. Dick Pohl now coming out to talk with Steve Wilson, who's been shell-shocked here in the 1st inning.
Here comes Dick Pohl. Now to give him a little more time. Getting back to Tim Tuffle. He was the last player that could be called on other than a pitcher. He stepped up with 2 out in the 9th, hit a game-tying home run off Tim Burke. And then the Mets went on and won the game at Montreal in the 11th. And Gary Carter, with the score tied 1-1 in the 9th, homer to give the Giants a 2-1 victory. All right, the huddle is over. And here's Jeff King. He has hit a homer against the Cubs earlier this year, hitting .240. Runner at first. There's a curveball in there, a strike call. Montreal out in front of the Mets, 1-0 at the end of 3. 3-0 Pittsburgh. A little bit outside. Jeff King, a University of Arkansas boy. 4 homers, 23 RBI. He's had only 2 hits against the Cubs this year, but one of them was a home run. He's 2 out of 15. And one of the 2 a homer. There's a drive in the left center field going back. What a catch by DeCenzo. Holy cow, what an amazing play by the little fella. Doug DeCenzo racing at full speed in the left center. Makes a one-handed catch. Watch it again.
The Pirates pound away at Steve Wilson, and Doug DeCenzo comes across to make a leaping catch. And it doesn't matter where you put this guy. He gives you the great glove wherever he goes, and Don Zimmer shifts him all over the outfield. Outstanding effort. DeCenzo got a great jump on this ball and was tall enough just barely to make the play.
Here's Don Slott, the catcher. With 4 homers this year, one of them against the Cubs. He's hitting .345. A refugee from the American League. Oh, they got him picked off first. The throw to second, he is out. Barry Bonds was picked off first and out trying to steal. 1-3-4. We go to the bottom of the first. The Pirates are out in front, 3-0. This pickoff of the man at first base, Barry Bonds. Barry knew there was no way of him getting back to first, so he tried to advance to second and was tagged out by Ryne Sandberg.
Toughest part of this pickoff is for the first baseman, in this case Mark Grace being a left-handed first baseman, to get a good angle on the throw to second. So you have to step up a couple of steps and make sure you throw it away from the runner. Grace did it perfectly.
Here now is Jerome Walton to lead it off. Curveball is low. Terry Egan, the chief financial officer at WGNO in New Orleans, is here with his family watching the ball game. One ball, no strikes. Swung late, fouled it off. Evens and count, a ball and a strike.
Walton played 3 games at AAA. Said he took extra batting practice every day before the game that he was down there, but figures although he's healthy, it's going to take him a few days to get back in the groove.
Pitch is low and outside. 2 balls and a strike. The Pirates are leading 3-0.
Smiley is 3-3 lifetime against the Cubs with a high 5.36 ERA. That's his highest ERA against any National League team.
Ball 3. 3 balls and a strike. The Schmal family of Kingsburg, California are on hand to pull for the cup. A long drive. It's going to be caught. Walton on a 3-1 pitch flies out to Van Slyke. Boy, even our leadoff man never take a pitch.
There you look at the defense and how they'll line up behind John Smiley. They give away a little defense at first base when Gary Rita starts. Don Slott, although a decent catcher, is not as good a glove man as Mike LaValliere, but both of them give the Pirates some offense.
Sandberg hitting .307. 25 homers, 63 runs batted in. There's a looper in the short center field. It may drop and a dive. Sandberg singles the center. And that will bring up Sean Dunston.
In the early days of Smiley's career, he threw a 90-plus fastball and depended mostly on that fastball. But he felt a few years back that the fastball was deserting him. So he learned a straight change from Ray Miller in winter ball. Throws it with 3 fingers, and now it's become one of his mainstays. He throws a lot of soft breaking balls. His fastball now right around 88, 89 miles an hour.
Sean Dunston, who's hitting .308 against the Pirates. .294 all told for the year. Swings, and he fouls it off. 1 strike and nothing. 2 home runs. They had 4 hits in a row. And 2 home runs in between. That's how they scored their 3 runs. Curveball low. Well, at least we know the ball will go out today. The wind is blowing out of the southeast. 9 miles an hour. Temperature 75 degrees. A summer resort kind of day. Perfect. A little dribbler to the second baseman. The only play first. 2 out. That'll bring up Dawson. Dawson against the Pirates also is hitting .308, but he has had 2 home runs. Comes up with a runner at second. 2 out.
Cubs have seen John Smiley this year. It was early in the year. Back on April 21st, he defeated Steve Wilson in the Cubs, going 7 innings, giving up 6 hits and 3 earned runs. That was right here at Wrigley Field.
Smiley, for his career, is 3 for 3 against the Cubs for his lifetime record. There's a base hit. We get one of the runs back. Dawson lines a solid single to center. And that brings in Sandberg. 3-1 ball game now.
RBI number 63. Sean Dunston has now tied Ryne Sandberg for the club lead as he drives this one back through the middle. Jerry Davis had to get out of the way of that vicious line drive. He almost went with it out to center field.
Here's Salazar now. He was a big gun yesterday with a double and a homer. Curve strike caught the outside corner. He's hitting .344 against the Pirates with 1 home run included. 1 out of his 11 hits was a homer. A little bit low, a fastball. Montreal leading the Mets 1-0 in the bottom of the 4th. Fastball outside, ball 2.
Smiley had a big year last year. He was 12-8 for the Pirates, but the ERA brilliant at 181. He completed 8 games, and that tied him for the team lead with Doug Drabek. He also tied for the team lead in strikeouts with 123.
Swung and he fouled it back. Frank Viola pitching for the Mets today. And Dennis Martinez for the Expo. He struck him out on a high pitch over his head. 1 run on 2 hits. At the end of 1, the Pirates lead 3-1. We go into the top of the 2nd. Jeff Pico has replaced Steve Wilson. Wilson in 1 inning allowed 4 hits and 3 runs. And now Jeff Pico takes over in relief. Top of the 2nd. Don Slaught leading it off.
Pico on for the 24th time. The record 4-2. The ERA 4.44. When he's right, there'll be a lot of ground balls.
He started a swing. He held up. Ball 2. They appealed. They said he didn't go around.
Jim Tredenich, phone call. Jim Tredenich.
Pitch is high. Well, congratulations are in order to our good friend Jerome Holtzman, the great sports writer of the Chicago Tribune, will be inducted in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown Sunday. There's a slider in there for a strike call. 3 balls and the strike. Don Slaught hitting .345. He walked him. Today's designated butt batter is Dorothy Leffers from Leo, Indiana, so congratulations to her. If any Cubs player hits a home run during the 7th inning, the designated butt batter earns $100 immediately and shares in a $10,000 bonus pool given out at the end of the season. If no home run is hit during the 7th inning, but a Cubs player reaches base, the designated butt batter will receive a Budweiser jacket and baseball cap. So if you're 21 or older, you can send your name, address, and telephone number to Bud Batter's Box, Post Office Box 12208, St. Louis, Missouri 63157, the zip. Double play ball to Sharp, out at second base for 1. Save for first base. Jose Lean came within a fraction of a step of hitting into his 15th double play of the year. An amazing statistic for his type of hitter.
Sean has some problems getting the ball to Sandberg. Right here, he just takes an extra beat, and that's all it took to allow Lean to beat it out. Slot is no factor. He can't get to Sandberg in time, and the Cubs fail to turn it.
One out. Here's John Smiley, a pretty good hitting pitcher. He sacrifices a throw to first in time.
Third time this year that John Smiley is sacrificed. And on the play, Jose Lean moves into scoring position.
And now here's Gary Reedus. Will hit for himself, although he's in the lineup primarily because the left-hander started for the Cubs in Steve Wilson. Reedus with a man in scoring position. Jose Lean. Curveball, a little bit outside. 3-1 in favor of the Pirates. Swung and he missed. And the count is evened up at 1-1.
Pico continues to throw that good slider away from Reedus. He's not going to have a great deal of difficulty with him. Gary has hit just about only the fastball since he's come into the league. And he's got some power, though he hasn't shown it a great deal this year.
Over the outside corner, a strike call. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A little bit too far out. That evens the count 2-2. There's a high pop foul, ought to be out of the inning. Now he's going to take it. Mark Grace makes the catch. So Pico got through the first inning. He's in there. And we go in the bottom of the second, still 3-1 Pirates.
Home delivery of the Chicago Tribune, and you'll get Sundays free. Call 1-800-443-4100 for 26 weeks of 7-day home delivery at just $2.10 a week. Nice pitch for an old third baseman. Thank you.
Harry Carey and Steve Stone as they go into the second and bottom of the second. 3-1 Pittsburgh. Smiley's pitch. And the loop to the center field for a hit. Graves bloops a single to center. And he's on. That'll bring up little Doug DeCenzo.
Mark Grace has a 12-game hitting streak. Most of it piled up against left-hand pitchers. So Grace is starting to come alive, and that batting average rising daily.
Frank Viola trying to become the first pitcher in the National League with 15 victories today. He's trailing at Montreal 1-0 in the 5th. Bob Welsh leads the American League with 16 wins. Bouncing ball might be a double bloop. He hesitated too long to get to force play at second and just got DeCenzo at first. 1 out. And Grace in scoring position. King was a little undecided.
Jeff King has had his problems at third base. He's a pretty decent glove man, but not a great third baseman. Here he had the easy force at second. It didn't work out that way. Couldn't get the ball out of his glove.
Here's Joe Girardi hitting .292. 1 homer, 29 RBI. Big run to pick up. Cubs trailing 3-1. A little bit low. Lenny Dykstra still leads the National League, hitting .351. 20 points ahead of Andre Dawson, who's third. Swung and he missed.
That changeup has changed the life of John Smiley. He no longer has to rely strictly on the good heater that he brought to the major leagues. Now when he throws it fastball, it looks just a little better.
1 ball, 1 strike. Line drive's going to carry to Van Slyke. Ball was hit hard, but directly at Van Slyke. 2 gone. And that will bring up Jeff Pico, who's not a bad hitting pitcher. As a matter of fact, he's hitting .316 with 6 out of 19. And with 1 run batted in. There's a lead by Grace. Fastball over the outside corner is strike call. Jeff Pico, a brother-in-law of the man at second base, Mark Grace. He swung and he missed that one. 0-2. And he's in the hole. Smiley, a 25-year-old southpaw and a very fine-looking pitcher. There goes the runner for third, and he's going to make it on a pass ball.
Looked like 1 of 2 things happened. Either Don Slott was crossed up or he just took his eye off this one. It's a high fastball, and Slott just misjudged it. Kind of unusual for a catcher to make a play like that, but there's a pass ball for you.
The pitch. Hey, there's a looper in the center field, going to be caught by Jose Lean, who got a great jump on the ball, raced out and made a one-handed catch to retire the side. Fine play by Jose Lean. At the end of 2, Pirates lead 3-1. Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field, and here's a guy who started all the trouble in the first inning, Jay Bell, when he lined his single to center with 1 out. Then Van Slyke homered in the left field bleachers. I made it 2-0. Then Bonilla followed with another one to make it 3-0. Now it's 3-1. Pitch is in there, a strike call. 1 ball, 1 strike. I can understand, looking at the lineup, why people might think that left-handers would fare better against the Pirates than right-handers. But you got to remember that Barry Bonds hits left-handers very well, so that's no advantage. And Bobby Bonilla is a switch hitter, and Don Slott is probably a more dangerous hitter than is Mike LaBaglia.
It's really close when you look at the numbers. 7 over against left-handed starters and 9 over 500 against right-handed starters for the Pirates.
2-2 pitch. High, ball 3. Jay Bell, a 24-year-old shortstop who's really making a name for himself. 3-2. A high pop fly. Dunston is there. Makes a catch. 1 out. And here is Andy Van Slyke, who hit his 11th homer of the year in the first. Drove in his 45th run. The Pirates didn't, or rather the Mets didn't score in the top of the 5th. Montreal leading 1-0. Dennis Martinez against Frank Viola. Viola trying to become the first National League pitcher to win his 15th game of the year. And he is shooting for a rarity. He could become a Cy Young Award winner in both leagues. He already won in the American League with the Twins, and he's a prime candidate for the National League this year. Bouncing ball, foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Milt May was talking about Andy Van Slyke and the fact that he is swinging the bat a whole lot better the last couple of weeks. When he does swing the bat better, he doesn't fly open. And Milt May is trying to get him to stay closed as long as possible, which will allow him to hit the ball to center field, because he can hit it there with authority.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Slow curveball outside, 2-2. We're in the third, 3-1 Pirates. Inside, ball 3 again. That's what it was to Jay Bell, who then popped up. Now here's Andy Van Slyke, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Look at Jose Lean and Gary Reedus looking on.
Ball 4 outside. That's a second pass given up by Pico. 1 out, 1 on, and here is Bobby Bonilla turning around now to hit left-handed. He hit his 22nd home run of the year and his 5th this season against the Cubs. There's a high fly ball. Walton shading his eye. He has it. 2 gone. And here's Barry Bonds. Bonds hitting .327. Well, this is basically, this Pirates, a very young but experienced ball club. Bell is 24. He's been around. Van Slyke, 29. He's been around a long time. Bonilla, 27. He's been around both leagues. Bonds, 26. He too. Jeff King, at 25, hasn't quite had the experience of the other guys, yet he's been around the major league scene. So has Don Slaughter, 31, and Jose Lean at 26. Pitch outside, evens the count. Ball and a strike.
Jim Leyland is quick to point out that it's going to be the young veterans that are going to carry this ball club down the stretch. The fact that they haven't won anything doesn't really come into play. They've been around long enough to know what pen and pressure is like.
There's a high fly ball, right field. Andre Dawson there makes the catch to retire the side. 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the third, still 3-1 Pittsburgh. Carey and Steve Stone as we go to the bottom of the third. Tom Brenneman will come along at the end of this inning. First pitch to Walton is a strike. Fastball high. Walton, no homers, 13 RBIs, hitting .270. He's only been in 57 games. There's a pitch low. This is the 105th game of the year. Only 57 to go. 2 balls and a strike. Over the outside corner, 2-2.
So far, Smiley has changed speeds very well. And when you do that, The hitter can't just sit back. You have him rocking, he shifts his weight, and many times he just doesn't get into the swing what he has to hit the ball hard.
Ground ball, deep shot, tough play, long throw, and safe. He beat it out. Long leg down, a ground ball to deep shot. Just barely beat it.
Fine play by Jay Bell, who realized he couldn't even take a step. As soon as he backhands this ball, watch the plant. Right there. A little extra skip because he had to stop his momentum, but he pours it across, and Paul Runge says that Walton beat it. Very close at first. A fine play by Bell.
Yeah, he beat it. Nobody argued about it. Here's Sandberg. He looped a single to center his first time and scored. Popped up on the first pitch. Jeff King under the ball makes a catch. Sandberg on the first pitch fouled out to Jeff King, the third baseman. Well, there's some of the people out in the left field bleachers with the Shawnometer sign. Sean bounced out his first time. Throw to first, runner back. Boy, that Smiley is right on the verge of balking.
Walton has stolen 10 bases. He's been caught just 5 times.
Into the dirt. Good save by Slot. 1 ball, no strikes.
John Smiley has 2 wild pitches this year to go along with 2 balks.
1 ball, no strikes. At the end of 5, Montreal still leading the Mets 1-0. Swung and he missed the change. Good off-speed curveball. Pirates won the first game of the series 9-1. The Cubs won yesterday 5-0 behind the brilliant pitching of Greg Maddux and the hitting of Salazar. He struck him out. Strike 2, rather. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
We saw Don Slott take a look as Sean Dunston stepped in the batter's box. He was looking at his feet to see if he might be creeping up a little closer to the plate. He wants to see where he's going to plant himself before he calls whatever pitch he is going to call, making sure that Dunston doesn't make any adjustments that he doesn't know about. Wants this one away.
There he does. Throw over to first base. Hey, you got the pick-off move picked pretty good, Arnie. He's looking into the dugout where the manager, Jim Leland, calls for pitch outs. There he goes throwing to first base. Arnie's figured it out. He slaps his thigh when he wants him to throw to first base. The catcher, that is. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fouled it out of play. Jam-packed ballpark. Boy, they're really out there in droves in the center field bleachers, the left field bleachers, the right field bleachers, at both decks of the grandstand. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ground ball hit it. Far right field, a base hit. Here comes the runner on second on his way to third. A base hit off the glove of Jose Lean. He kind of took a little hop at the last moment over his glove. A base hit, runners first and third.
Sean Dunston went the other way and took advantage of the fact that Smiley kept throwing him outside. Here's a changeup, but Smiley gets it up, and Sean Dunston drives it just by Lean. He has it hit off the heel of the glove and bounced into right field.
Here's Dawson now. Runners first and third. The infield's going to play back for the double play. Salazar would be next. Dawson had a homer for a while. A high pop fly. Watch the runner tagging up. He quickly gets the ball back into the cutoff man. Andre swung at a terrible pitch.
It was a fastball up over his head, and credit Barry Bonds with getting rid of the ball quickly. Well out of the strike zone and inside, and Andre just pops it straight up.
Oh, what a big out that is for him.
Want to make sure you hit the cutoff man here, as Barry Bonds does.
So here's Salazar. The ball was just barely in fair territory down the left field line. Shortstop could have caught it, but Barry Bonds was coming in towards the ball and was in better position to throw to the plate in the event Walton tried to score after the catch. A little bit low and outside. We have Dunston at first, very fast. Jerome Walton at third, very fast. There are two out. Swung and he missed. A foul tipped. A change of pace curve. Luis Salazar guessed right on a change of pace yesterday when he homered with a man on off Rick Reed. 1 ball, 1 strike. High. Ball 2. They try to pitch him high and tight out of the strike zone. Pop fly, easy out. Lean is under it, and he has it. So it's 2 hits, 2 left.
Wrigley Field in Chicago. The Pirates are in front 3-1, and the Cubs are wasting some pretty good opportunities early on against Smiley.
John Smiley doesn't walk many people, only 19 this year in just about 90 innings. Tom, if he doesn't walk anybody, the Cubs are going to have to hit the long ball.
Does he look the same kind of pitcher as he did prior to breaking his left hand to you?
Looks completely different. I don't think it has anything to do with the broken left hand. What I think, Tom, is that he's decided that the fastball might not be quite as good these days, and he's going to a lot more straight changes and breaking balls.
1-1 to Jeff King, and he slaps a grounder Dunston's way. 1 out. Jeff Pico has pitched well since coming on in relief of Steve Wilson, who lasted just 1 inning. Wilson served up 4 hits, 2 of them home runs to Van Slyke and Bobby Bonilla back-to-back, and 3 runs in the first inning. Don Slaught now the batter. Pico walked him, leading off the second inning. Slaught has done a very nice job for Jim Leyland's team. In 36 starts this season for Slaught, he has batted .352. Fouls it out of way. However, since coming off the disabled list, he has just 2 hits and 23 at-bats.
I feel they're very strong behind the plate because Slaught is the offensive member of the platoon system, and Mike LaValliere very good defensively, having a down year offensively.
Down the right field line, Grace now in foul territory, makes a grab, 2 up, 2 down in the 4th inning.
In attendance today, Norman Kasanovich of Arlen, Maryland. Christopher Martin from Worcester, Mass. And they're here at the ball game visiting Aunt Louise in customer relations.
Here's Jose Lean. Bounced into a fielder's choice his first trip and was stranded at second base. Pico has not allowed a base hit since coming on in the second inning. Ball one.
This is one of the things missing from the Cubs during the middle of the year is middle relief. But today, Jeff Pico has been brilliant.
The 1-0 pitch to Lean. Cannell even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Pirates in day baseball this season, 18-8. 10-4 in day games on the road. The only teams in the National League with winning records during the daytime. The Cubs 1 game over. The Mets 5 over. Philadelphia 1 over. And the Cardinals 1 over. Everybody else is under 500 under the sunshine.
You get used to playing a certain way, and most of these teams obviously play at night.
A base hit by the diving Grace. 5th hit of the game for the Pirates. The first off Pico, the first since the first inning.
Good effort by Mark Grace. Pico gets the sinker up. That turns ground balls into line drives, and this line drive went into right field.
John Smiley, a sacrifice bunt. Hitting 107 with a couple of runs knocked in. Cubs have played much better baseball since the All-Star break, having won 12 of 16 games. Trailing here today, 3-1, top of the 4th inning.
Cubs pitching really has been the story. And it's been guys like Jeff Pico, and certainly the starting rotation. The performance today by Steve Wilson, something that you just want to throw out. He had a tough one against St. Louis also, but the other 3 guys in the rotation doing a good job.
That one's in there, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tomorrow, another good pitching matchup. And 2 of the front-running candidates, perhaps, for the National League's Rookie of the Year. Mike Harkey against Mark Gardner. There's a base hit into right field. Lean will make the big turn, but stop at second base.
Hector Villanueva's family is on hand, as is Luis Salazar, Hector's family from Puerto Rico. So Hector wants to say hello to all the home folks who are back watching this one.
First 2 men were retired in the Pittsburgh 4th inning, but Lean and Smiley back-to-back singles into right field, and it'll be the top of the order in Gary Reedus. Reedus is grounded to first and fouled out to first.
Pretty much everybody around baseball felt that the Pittsburgh Pirates would bow out of it gracefully once the Mets got close and eventually caught them. That hasn't been the case. Pittsburgh has hung in there tough.
Ball 1. The Mets are playing an afternoon affair at Olympic Stadium against the Expos. Frank Viola going for win number 15 against Dennis Martinez. And Martinez getting the best of it so far, with Montreal leading 1-0 on a Delino DeShields RBI to score Spike going. 2-0.
That is a great pitcher's duel right there. Martinez always tough despite the record, and Viola, strong candidate for the Cy Young Award this year.
2 balls and no strikes. 2 aboard, 2 down. And the count will extend to 2-1. Doug Drabeck making a strong run also as a Cy Young Award candidate.
He's tough. He's been the most consistent pitcher for the Pirates over the last few years. And with his breaking ball and the control that he's shown over the years, he makes you beat him. With as good a stuff as he has, you don't do that too often.
2 balls and a strike to Reedus. And it's now 3-1. An update on that New York score. A triple by Greg Jeffries has scored Howard Johnson. 1-1 game, top of the 6th inning.
Here's where you'd love to see Pico use the slider to try to retire Reedus. Fastball hitter and a fastball count.
He walked him. 3rd walk issued by Jeff Pico, and this rally is underway with 2 down.
One of the real unsung heroes of this ball club is a man standing at home plate right now as Joe Girardi goes out to talk with Jeff Pico. Very quietly, Jay Bell has gotten the job done and solidified shortstop for Pittsburgh. All you hear about is Bonilla, Bonds, to a certain extent Andy Van Slyke. But it's Bell that's come in, put together a solid year, an unselfish type player. 25 sacrifices this year, so you know he's willing to give himself up. And he can move the ball. He's got some power, and the Pirates think that in the next couple of years he will show home run power.
The bases are loaded. The Pirates leading 3-1, 2 down, and Bell waves through the first pitch. Of Bell's 27 sacrifices you mentioned, 19 have led to runs. And you're right, you don't get a lot of publicity out of that, but you got to have the guys behind you to knock the runs in, and he puts them in scoring position.
I mentioned it the other day, but he's a lot like Ted Sizemore used to be with the Cardinals when Lou Brock led off. Many times Brock would lead off with a double. Even if he led off with a single, it was always Teddy Sizemore who would bunt the ball and move him along, because the Cardinals had a very strong middle of the lineup, as do the Pirates. Move a man up one base, and it takes perhaps a sacrifice to get him home.
Fastball low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. At third base, Jose Lean. Smiley at second. And at first is Gary Reedus. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Jay Bell. Pico bringing it. Count evens up 2-2.
You certainly want to make it happen right here, because if not, then you've got yourself in a position with even Reedus breaking off the bag on the pitch, and he can score easily on a bloop double.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and he struck him out swinging. No runs, 2 hits, 3 left. Middle of the 4th. It's still the Pirates 3 and the Cubs 1.
We've got someone to put some sizzle into your summer nights.
Who wants to go to Maui?
He's every crook's nightmare.
To watch.
He's every woman's dream.
You're doing beautifully.
He's
Magnum.
Magnum. 5 times a week. Spend an evening with one of the best and let Magnum put some sizzle into your summer nights. Magnum. Tonight at 10:30 on Channel 9.
Hey, come on. Is this any way to spend the summer? No. Make it a Bud summer with Budweiser, Bud Light, and Bud Dry. Check inside 12 packs and you could win one of 100 Bud label pools. Look for me, Jeff Altman, where you buy your favorite beer, because we're giving away pools all summer long. It's wet. It's wild. It's Bud summer. Hey, man, you need sunscreen. You're starting to peel. Woo!
Win the same 300ZX that Mitch Williams owns. WGN-TV and Nissan invite you to stop by your local participating Nissan dealer now through August 18th to fill out an official entry blank to enter.
Hey, Cub fans, join Ryan Sandberg, Andre Dawson, Greg Maddux, Joe Girardi, and a host of other Cub players when the Cubs invade Walt Disney World November 8th through the 12th. Enjoy the Magic Kingdom, Epcot Center, and Disney MGM Studios. Plus private Cub parties, special photo session with Cub players, and Disney characters, breakfast with the Cubs, and much, much more. For more information on this special Cubs Disney vacation package, call 1-800-333-3388.
Great day for baseball here in Chicago. We've had splendid weather the entire week, and they're expecting more of the same through the weekend as the Expos come into town. It's a 3-1 Pirates lead as we head for the bottom of the 4th inning. A single by Darryl Strawberry has scored Jeffries. And now New York goes in front of Martinez and the Expos 2-1.
Pico goes to the fastball. Doesn't want to go 3-2. And Bell swings through it. That's a big out for Jeff Pico. Mike Cook of Bill Cook Buick on hand today, and it couldn't be a better day in Chicago.
Due up for the Cubs, it'll be Mark Grace, Doug DeCenzo, and Joe Girardi. Mark Grace extended his hitting streak to 12 games with a single on the first pitch leading off the 2nd inning. Mark had a career-high 15-game streak earlier this season. And this time smacks it right to the shortstop Bell. One away.
My old buddy John Fox in attendance today. John appearing at Zany's this weekend. He's got his daughter with him. Her first look at Wrigley Field as Bill Long starts loosening in the pen.
Doug DeCenzo grounded out to third base on a ball which looked to be a double play, but King had a tough time getting it out of his mitt, so got the sure out at first. Strike one.
Doug's one of the reasons why the score is only 3-1. He made a fine catch in left field on a drive off the bat of Don Slott.
Little flare into shallow right. Bonilla will get it. Didn't get a real good jump on that ball initially.
Bobby Bonilla has said that he just loves to come to Chicago and play in this park. He doesn't know what it is. He's always hit very well here. He's hit very well against the Cubs, period. But looking at his numbers in this park, he thinks he's hit close to 500 here lifetime. We haven't checked it out, but it seems like every time he steps up, he does some damage.
Swing and a miss by Joe Girardi, who hit one on the screws to straightaway center field in the second inning. But we do know one thing. Bonilla has 16 home runs in his career against the Cubs, more than any other opponent for Bonilla in the National League. And 5 of them have come this year. 0-2.
John Smiley generous in his praise of Ray Miller, his pitching coach. He said Ray really helped him when he took a look at him back in 1988. Said, son, if you're going to star in the major leagues, you have to have a changeup. He gave him one, and it's been a good one for him.
Did he go and appeal down to first? And no, says Paul Runge. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the Cubs catcher. Ray Miller has had many a star under his tutelage. And of course, Steve Stone, you happen to be one of them back with the Birds. Play in a hole at short by King, and he will not get him at first. That's the second or third time in this game King has had a tough time getting the ball out of his glove.
Well, the Pirates have said that Jeff King is just adequate. They think that eventually his bat's going to carry his glove. Right now he is having some problems. This is a good stop, but as you can see, the double clutch, he's got a strong arm. But with the double clutch, Joe Girardi with good enough wheels to beat it out. Fine effort on this half. The bobble, and Girardi in at first.
So now it's Jeff Pico. Takes ball 1. Jeff popped out to second base to end the second inning. Cubs now have 6 base hits, and through the first 3 innings have stranded 4 runners. The Pirates lead 3-1. Two balls, no strikes. Second start of the year for Smiley against the Cubs. He defeated Wilson 4-3 at Wrigley Field back on the 21st of April. Went 7 innings, surrendered 6 hits and 3 runs. 3 balls and no strikes.
Pirates realize that this is a big game for them because they move into Philadelphia for a 5-game series in 4 days. They haven't had great success with the Phillies, and playing them in their home park, it becomes a tough series.
Strike in there, 3-1. Girardi at first base with an infield hit. 2 down in the 4th. Smiley bringing a 3-1. He walked it. Cubs catch a break right there as Smiley walks Pico.
It's interesting because here you have a man on the mound that has exceptional control. Only 19 walks this year. That was his 20th. He's been on the mound close to 90 innings so far. And he tells himself, you can't get hurt. This man's not going to hit a home run. I've got to throw strikes to the pitcher. And the more you tell yourself you have to throw strikes, the tighter the arm gets, the more you aim the ball, and the less likely it is to throw strikes.
Jerome Walton back. His first appearance today since the 17th of June when he was hit with a pitch by right-hander Kenny Howell of the Phillies. And since that time has been on the DL with a fractured hand. Swing and a miss. Walton 1 for 2. Line to center field in the first. Had an infield hit in the third inning. Pirates 3, Cubs 1. Bottom of the fourth. Girardi at second. Pico at first. 2 away. Good looking pitch right there.
This is just an adequate Pirate defense. In the infield, they have the one star with the glove. Jose leaned at second. In the outfield, pretty solid defensively. But this has been a bad defensive series for the Pirates, who have made 7 errors so far.
0-2 delivery, and he struck him out with a pitch that painted the inside corner. No runs, a hit, 2 men left. After 4, it's still the Bucks 3, the Cubs 1.
At 5 a.m., they start worrying.
Let's go through this one more time.
First about their $25,000.
Maybe we should just rejet the car.
Then about 59-cent clamps. But one concern these NASCAR pit crews never had, their gasoline. Since 1951, Unical 76 has fueled more NASCAR winners than all other brands combined. A soothing thought, because when the flag goes down, there's enough to worry about.
Cubs collector's pins, just 76 cents with purchase. At 76.
Zim says, subscribe now for 7-day home delivery of the Chicago Tribune, and you'll get Sundays free. He says the Trib will be delivered to your home every morning for just $2.10 a week, almost 40% off the newsstand price. Just pick up the phone, he says, and dial 1-800-443-4100. It's that easy. All he asks is that you charge your subscription to Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. 26 weeks of the Trib, with Sundays free? Just by calling 1-800-443-4100. Nice pitch for an old third baseman. Thank you.
It's Chevy Chase, Chevy Chase, and Chevy Chase in his funniest chase ever, Fletch. Sunday night at 7 on Channel 9.
A participating advertiser in Cubs baseball is Pepsi-Cola General Bottlers. Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Pirates 3 in the first on back-to-back home runs from Van Slyke and Bonilla. Cubs got an RBI single from Dawson, scoring Sandberg, and that's all the scoring in this game as we begin the 5th inning of play. It'll be Van Slyke, Bonilla, Bonds for the Pirates against Jeff Pico, who surrendered a couple of base hits, but struck Bell out in the 4th inning with the bases loaded.
This becomes a big inning for Pico because his offense lagging behind. He cannot allow the Pirates to get any more, and he's facing the sluggers.
And Van Slyke punches one into right field, a base hit. Van Slyke 2 for 2. He has reached base in each of his first 3 trips.
Van Slyke went for 3.5 weeks without getting 2 hits in the same game, and suddenly the stroke is back for Andy. He had 2 hits in the first game, 2 hits in this one, a hit in between. And he's getting hot at the right time as far as the Pirates are concerned. They're going to need all the bats booming if they're going to pursue the New York Mets and come out on top.
Van Slyke 9 for 12 in stolen base attempts this year. Ball 1 to Bobby Bonilla, who hit a solo home run in the first inning and fly to center field in the third.
You usually don't get a lot of running ahead of Bonilla because you don't want to put him in a hit-and-run situation and take away the power pitch from him.
There's a drive to left field, bending away from DeCenzo, and he will not get it. It's off the wall. Van Slyke getting the green light. Here he comes. Dunston will not throw it and give Bonilla his second run batted in of this game. 70 now for the season, and the Pirates own a 4-1 advantage.
26 double as Bonilla slices this ball. It keeps moving away from DeCenzo. The wind and the natural action of the ball driving it into the corner. DeCenzo does a good job off the wall, but Van Slyke, with very good speed, scores easily. And the bullpen up and going once again. So what we feared would be a tough inning for Pico is shaping up exactly that way.
Single by Van Slyke. Run scoring double by Bonilla, who leads at second. And here's Barry Bonds, 1 for 2. Bonds a deep drive to right center field. Dawson giving chase, and it is gone. 2-run home run against the wind by Barry Bonds, 19 for the year. And the Cubs have scored 3 times, or rather the Pirates, to jump out to a big lead now.
77 RBIs for Bonds, who said yesterday he thought that one was going out of the park, that the wind shouldn't make that much difference. Well, today with the wind blowing very similar, he cuts through the wind. It's a slider, and when you throw a slider to the left-hander and it's down and in, usually you can forget about it if the man's got some pop. Barry Bonds does, and just like that, the Pirates have put 3 up on the board and extended their lead to 5. Just barely enough. That's all it takes.
Barry Bonds having a monster season, the best of his young career. His previous high in runs batted in, 59, and now this season, as Steve just mentioned, 77 already.
Same hitter, same skills, different spot in the batting order for Barry Bonds. And he's talking with Jim Leland. Tell him how he did it.
Tough play in a hole at short for Dunston. He won't even leash one over to first base. And you can give Jeff King an infield hit. 4 consecutive hits for the Pirates against Pico in the 5th.
Bill Long looks like he's just about ready. Let's see if Don Zimmer's ready.
Don Slaught has walked and fouled out to first. Pirates leading 6-1. 3 home runs in this game against Cubs pitching. Van Slyke, Bonilla, Bonds. Line drive right at DeCenzo. 1 away.
That was a rocket off the bat of Slaught, but fortunately right at Doug.
Talked about the Pirates defense. Horrendous last season. Not too impressive this year. The pitching staff is up and down. I don't think there's any question this team can hit, and they're proving it today.
Well, like all teams who are in the race, and as everybody knows about baseball, it's pitching that takes over in August and September, and usually the club with the pitchers are the club that does it. The Mets have the pitchers. The question is, can the Pirates find one more starter somewhere? It might be on the waiver wires, or it might be a deal, but they need one more.
First base side, foul ground. Gray shading the eyes and puts it away. 2 retired now with a man still at first. Pico 1 batter away from surviving this 5th inning, in which the Pirates have posted 3 runs. John Smiley had a base hit his last trip, a sacrifice bunt to advance a runner in the 2nd.
Pirates have just been murder on the Cubs this year. 8-3 in 11 games coming into this one. 4-1 in this ballpark.
Dunston's got it, and that's the inning, but not before the Pirates come up with 3 runs, 4 hits, a man left. Middle of the 5th at Wrigley Field. Pirates 6, Cubs 1.
It's Saturday. Do you need a better hand soap?
Not us, we can cope. We don't need no lava soap, no. Ladies' hands don't get that dirty. We don't need no lava soap.
Regular soap won't always work, but lava with pumice will. Paint, grease, dirt, whatever. Lava's better. Interested?
Not particularly, no. We don't need no lava soap, no. Children's hands don't get that dirty. No, no, no.
Lava, but don't try to cope without it, soap.
How do you get real premium beer taste in a non-alcoholic brew? You start with a real premium beer. That's how Anheuser-Busch makes O'Doul's. O'Doul's is carefully brewed, fully fermented, and cold-aged. Then the alcohol is naturally removed, retaining all the great taste. So how do you get real premium beer taste in a non-alcoholic brew? Ask for an ice-cold O'Doul's. O'Doul's, the taste will win you over.
Today's word is garbage. What's garbage? Well, garbage is anyone who's into drugs. If you're into drugs, don't get into my shoes. Mr. Robinson doesn't like garbage in his shoes. If you're into drugs, don't come into my neighborhood. Mr. Robinson doesn't like garbage in his neighborhood.
The Illinois Lottery. Have a ball. Play the lottery.
Nice day to get a quick drink of water as you're heading in or out of the ballpark. Cubs are trailing the Pirates 6-1, and it looks like that young lady right there is going to do just that.
What's surprising is the fact that normally at this time of year you can't breathe at the ballpark. It's so hot with humidity up so high that it makes things pretty tough on the field, but not today. Great weather.
Ryan Sandberg, Sean Dunston, Andre Dawson will try and get the Cubs back in this one. But Dawson, the first pitch, a fly ball to right center. Bonilla there, 1 out.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Chicago National League Ball Club, which has the right of approval of the announcers and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is prohibited.
Sean Dunston, 1 for 2, had an infield hit in the third inning. Sean inserted into the third slot today where he has excelled this season. Though not that many starts, Dunston has hit well over 320 in the number 3 hole.
Not necessarily a switch in the lineup for Dunston that's made the difference is the fact that he's facing all the left-hand pitchers. And that will usually make a difference for a right-hand hitter.
Pops it up. Right side of the infield. It'll be Lean calling off Reedus, and Dunston has to dodge out of his way. 2 down.
Watching Smiley, it's kind of strange to watch the transition of a man from a thrower to a pitcher. He made the jump from A-ball to the major leagues. He had spent 3 years at A-ball, and from Prince William, he was called up to the Pirates. He was a hard thrower, but when you throw everything at 93 and you don't have much of a breaking ball or a changeup, hitters get used to it. He felt that he had to make a transition, become a pitcher, use 3 pitches to get people out. And now when he goes to the fastball, it's usually a surprise. It looks a little faster than it really is.
Andre Dawson takes strike 1. The Hawk an RBI single to push across the lone Cubs run of this game, and then fly it out to left field in the third inning. Good pitch right there. A fastball in on his hands. 0-2.
Like most teams, they play their second baseman, in this case Jose Lean, up the middle for Dawson. They play him as a pull hitter on the left side, but there you see Lean very close to the bag at second and deep. He's going to try to take anything back through the middle.
0-2 to Dawson. Base is empty. Foul ball in amongst the spectators. Still nothing in 2. Pirates 3 in the first, 3 more in the 5th. And lead the Cubs 6-1 in the bottom of the 5th. Do you think the Pirates are going to be able to hang with the Mets?
I don't think they will win eventually, but I think they're going to make it very interesting because of that lineup and the fact that you've got 2 real good pitchers in Smiley and Drabek. If you can count on a pretty good outing out of both of them, and Heaton comes back with anything like he threw in the first half, suddenly you have 3/4 of a starting rotation, and most teams will go to 4 men, except perhaps the Mets, who have that 5 or 6 starters, depending on how you look at it. I think they can make it a very close race.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Dawson. And King, foul ball. Montreal certainly not calling it quits yet.
They have the same situation as far as pitching is concerned. Mark Gardner has emerged as one of the toughest right-handers in the league, and Dennis Martinez always gives you a good effort. So you put those 2 guys together with Kevin Gross, who's now back off the disabled list and throwing the ball fairly well, and suddenly it's a good pitching staff that's helping keep that team afloat.
Again a 1-2. High and outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. I think the real surprise in the National League as far as pitchers or a pitcher is concerned is Oil Can Boyd.
He's a man you just don't think about much because he came over as a free agent, has had his physical problems, but he looked very good when he faced the Cubs in Montreal.
Overplaying deep is lean, but he will not be able to get Dawson. That'll be an infield hit. Second hit of the game for Dawson.
Even with the exaggerated defense, Andre Dawson gets the base hit. Jose Lean, playing up the middle, is able to make the play on the shortstop side of second. When you go that far from your second base position, you're just not going to throw anybody out except if Zim were to be running down the line. I doubt if you're ever going to get Andre from there.
Might not get Zim. One on, two down, and here's Salazar, 0 for 2. Luis, a couple of hits yesterday, including a 2-run home run, his 8th of the season. Promised his dad, as you brought up yesterday, that he would have a couple of base hits, and he came through. One ball and one strike. Mark Grace waiting on deck. That got a piece of Don Slott's left arm, it looked like. Or maybe up in the shoulder area. Oh, maybe in the neck.
I think it got him in the throat. He's trying to cough it off at this point. Watch it again. That is a tough position, folks. You take a beating back there. I think it's probably the best position to make the major leagues because you look for different type of averages out of your catcher. He doesn't necessarily have to hit if he's a good defensive catcher. You can get away with a guy who hits in the 240s like Mike LaValliere. You put that batting average with no power like LaValliere has, and he becomes a liability anyplace else but behind the plate.
1-2, Dawson a short lead at first, and Salazar strikes out swinging for the second time. No runs, a hit, a man left. After 5, it's still Pittsburgh 6, the Cubs 1.
Introducing an American automobile that will compete with any...
As we begin the 6th inning at Wrigley Field, it'll be the top of the order. Gary Reedus followed by Jay Bell and then Andy Van Slyke. Reedus 0 for 2, walked in the 4th inning. Pico still on the mound for Don Zimmer's team in relief of Steve Wilson, who survived just an inning. Surrendered 4 hits, 3 runs, including a pair of long ones from Van Slyke and Bobby Bonilla. 1-1. Hope you're with us tomorrow afternoon. First of a 3-game series against the Expos. Mike Harkey 9-5 against Mark Gardner 6-5. 2 balls, 1 strike. Then following the 3 games against Montreal, the Cubs will play host to the St. Louis Cardinals on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then embark on a 3-game swing against the Mets in New York.
It's a great early August for the Cubs. The schedule makers saw fit to have the Cubs home most of early August. Back till August 20th, the Cubs away only 3 games against the Mets.
Reedus swinging away on a 3-1 pitch and fouls it off.
Paul Assenmacher up and throwing in the bullpen.
Payoff pitch to Reedus. Here it comes. Salazar's got it. 1 away. Later tonight on Channel 9, Barney goes undercover to expose lax security at the Mayberry Bank. Don't you dare miss another exciting exploit in the life of Rambo Fife. It's the Andy Griffith Show tonight at 6 on Chicago's very own Channel 9.
Do you write that stuff?
No, Arnie does.
Rambo Fife.
Jay Bell, the batter. 1 out of 3, singled and scored on the home run from Van Slyke in the 1st inning. Struck out swinging against Pico to end the 4th with a sacks full. 2 balls and no strikes. Mets still leading Montreal. They're now on the top of the 8th. 2-1 the score.
Pirates have done most of their damage this year against the West. 24-24 against the East. 34-18 against the Western Division.
2 balls and 1 strike.
They still have 3 games left with Atlanta, Cincinnati, and Houston. But they pounded Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The Reds are the only team in the National League's Western Division to chalk up a winning mark against the East. 34-19. Closest team to even getting close, the Dodgers at 500.
And coincidentally, the Reds the only team with a winning advantage over Pittsburgh in the West.
Again, Salazar's way. 2 down. Cubs are trailing 6-1. The Pirates back-to-back home runs from Van Slyke and Bonilla to chase Steve Wilson. Cubs have certainly had their chances, stranding 7 men through the first 5. And Jerome Walton returns today and has a hit in 3 trips, an infield hit in the 3rd inning. Long ball has been the difference in this game. Van Slyke a 2-run homer, Bonilla a solo shot, and Barry Bonds a 2-run home run 1 inning ago. Pico knocks it down, and Van Slyke is retired for the first time. 1-2-3 inning. Middle of the 6th, it's still the Pirates 6, the Cubs 1. Senzo, Joe Girardi due up against the left-hander John Smiley. And Grace another base hit. He just continues to swing the bat with authority over this 12-game hitting streak. His 2nd hit of the game in 3 trips.
Could have easily been 3 for 3 today because Mark Grace lined out to Jay Bell in the 4th inning. Cubs will get a look at Damon Berryhill in 3 days because the 20-day rehab at the minor league level is going to be by the boards, and rule states you got to bring them back. But Jim Fry has projected that at least to this point, Damon Berryhill, when he does come back, will probably go on the disabled list and not be available for action so that you don't have to make a move.
Doug DeCenzo is grounded to 3rd and fly to right field. Strike on the inside corner. Both bullpens active. Steve mentioned Paul Ossenmacher, the left-hander, up for the Cubs. And now down in the Pirates bullpen, it's right-hander Stan Belinda. The 0-1 delivery. Into the seats. No balls, 2 strikes. White Sox. I see where they're calling up their #1 draft pick of this season, starting the first game of a doubleheader today, Fernandez.
They've got some pitching problems, and they realize that, and unable to make a trade like most teams who are in contention. Not willing to give up what the other general managers want in return, or not willing to sign guys who are going to be free agents, signing them now to extensive, long-term, lucrative contracts. Everybody was pretty quiet before that August 1st deadline.
No balls, 2 strikes. Check swing. Well, Darryl Strawberry has taken over as the National League leader in the home run department. A 2-run blast in the 8th inning. Strawberry 26 on the season. He's driven in 3 out of the 4 Mets runs. New York 4, Montreal 1. Strike 3 got him looking on the outside corner. 4 strikeout for John Smiley.
I believe it was Gene Mock who first said, give me 25 players in their option year and I will give you a championship team. A lot of gentlemen have that big year in the last year of the contract, and at least this year, Darryl Strawberry no exception to that.
Joe Girardi, a fair ball down the left field line. On his way to 3rd is Grace. Chuck Cottier going to hold him up right there on to 2nd. Girardi with his 18th double of the season.
Girardi able to take advantage of the fact that Jeff King was well off the line, and with his changeup, Girardi rifles it by him. No chance for King, and the Cubs making some noise. Don Slott out to the mound to talk with Smiley. And Hector Villanueva, with his parents at the ball game from Puerto Rico, getting an opportunity to pinch hit. Smiley has thrown just 1 complete game in his 13 starts, and he looks like he's destined not to complete this one. As Villanueva comes in at 294, 1 for 7 with an RBI as a pinch hitter. Hector's hit 6 home runs, 14 RBIs overall.
So Villanueva comes up in a big opportunity. The Cubs trail by 5, but with a base hit right here by Villanueva, that lead could be trimmed down to 3. And here comes Jim Leland. Stan Belinda is ready, the right-hander out of the bullpen, and that might do it for John Smiley. Let's see. He has brought him into the ball game, so Belinda will be the man. Smiley leaves in front 6-1. We'll be back with more right after these messages. The Cubs threatening with 2 on and 1 out here in the home half of the 6th. And now the new pitcher, Stan Belinda.
The Cubs saw Belinda yesterday, pitched an inning, struck out 1. That's it. He comes in for the 33rd time this year. 2-3 with a 3.0 ERA. Throws a fastball right around 90 miles an hour. He sinks it, throws a slider to go with it, and throws from the side, which makes him tough against the right-hand hitter. So with that in mind, a brief appearance for Hector Villanueva, and Dave Clark comes on to pinch hit.
Well, Dad, I stepped up there, but that was all there was to it.
Hector's father is probably saying, this is a tough league. My son doesn't even get a chance to hit, but he looked real good swinging a bat. So Dave Clark comes on. .277 batting average. That's how an outfield stays together.
And arguably the best outfield in the National League.
It's a good one. Dave Clark is 6 for 32 with 3 RBIs as a pinch hitter.
Numbers on Clark overall. He's done well as a starter. Not in the lineup today. He did start yesterday's game. Had a hit in 4 trips, stole a base, and scored a run. And in the series opener, he was 0 for 4 with a run scored reaching on an error. He was the man who sent Bob Walk out of the game with an injured right hand. So at third at Grace, Girardi leading at second. And the Pirates in front 6-1 with 1 out, bottom of the 6th. Popped up on the first pitch. A long run for Bonds, and he'll make the play in foul ground. Here comes a throw, but it's well off the mark. Sack fly RBI for Dave Clark. Gray scores, 6-2 game.
Fine play by Bonds. He wheels and tries to make the throw, but it's off target. So another RBI for Dave Clark, number 14 this year, and his 4th as a pinch hitter, as Mark Grace scores. Take a look at the throw one more time. It's a blind throw. Bonds doing a pivot right in front of the wall, and you can see how far off the mark it is.
Girardi still at second for Jerome Walton. 1 for 4, an infield base hit in the 3rd. Pull into that breaking ball, 1-0. Belinda, at least in terms of his delivery, reminds you a little bit of a former Pirate star, Kent DeColvey.
I don't think his fastball sinks as much as DeColvey's, but he throws it a little harder.
2 balls and no strikes. Waiting on deck, Ryan Sandberg. The 1989 National League Rookie of the Year, Jerome Walton. Back for the first time today since the 17th of June. Now it's 3 balls and no strikes. Girardi leading at second base. 3-0 to Walton. Cubs down 6-2. The pitch. Ball 4. He walked it.
Ray Miller coming out to the mound to talk with Stan Belinda. He doesn't want Belinda to drop down sidearm, leave one of those fastballs over the inner half, and make this a 1-run ball game. And hopefully for the Cubs, it will be Rhino time.
Home runs have been far and few between for Sandberg. Only 1 home run since June the 27th. A span of 117 at-bats. Meeting is over at the mound between Miller and the pitcher Belinda. Sandberg 1 for 3, scored a run in the first inning. He has since fouled out to third and fly to right. Girardi at second, Walton at first, 2 down. Pittsburgh 6, Chicago 2, bottom of the 6th. And Belinda continues to miss outside.
He's definitely trying to aim the ball at this point. What you want to have happen is him let one go and leave it on the inner half.
Two on, 2 out. The 0-1-0 delivery. 2 balls and no strikes. Don Zimmer looking for the big inning here in the 6th. 1 is in so far. Jimmy Leland has seen his bullpen come through many times this season, but Sandberg has other thoughts. In there is strike, 2-1.
So far, Belinda has kept everything away. And there's Bob Walk. So apparently he was not hurt at all.
Girardi and Walton, the base runners. 2-1 pitch. Again outside with a fastball. A good hitter's count right here. 3 balls and 1 strike. Should Sandberg reach, Dunston would be next. The 3-1 delivery to Sandberg. And there's a drive. Left field, but Barnes with room. Makes a catch shy of the track, and that's the inning. 1 run, 2 hits, 2 left. Harry Carey coming back in the 7th after 6. The Pirates 6 and the Cubs 2.
Advertiser in Cubs baseball is Buick and your better Buick dealers. Home of the most trouble-free American cars.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Carey with Steve Stone and Tom Brenneman. As we go into the top of the 7th, Paul Ossenmacher comes in to pitch for the Cubs. Doug DeCenzo shifts from left to center. Dave Clark stays in the ballgame and plays left field.
Ossenmacher 3-2 this year, on for the 53rd time. ERA 3.47. He pitched a couple of innings in the first game of the series, gave up 2 hits and no runs.
Here's Bobby Bonilla. RBI double in the 5th. A home run in the 1st. 2 out of 3. Swings and he fouls it off. Dave Clark in left, as I mentioned. DeCenzo in center. And Paul Ossenmacher pitching. Those are the only changes. There's DeCenzo. 1 ball, 1 strike. There's a drive. Forget about it. Holy cow. Out onto Waveland Avenue. That Bobby Bonilla's 23rd home run of the year. His 3rd run batted in. His 71st RBI. 71st RBI of the year.
And
that's 6 home runs he has hit now against the Cubs this season.
3rd 2-home-run game of the year. He got a breaking ball down. I wish Bobby Bonilla wouldn't like to hit in this park so much because he's making life miserable for Cub pitchers.
What we ought to do is go out and trade for him. I'd like to have Bonilla hitting here 81 games a year.
I think he would like to also.
There's Barry Bonds. Well, if they won't trade Bonilla, maybe they would trade Bonds. Boy, they do have a productive middle of the batting order. There's a high pop foul back. Bonilla has hit 23 home runs this year. 6 of them have been against the Cubs.
Home run number 7 given up by Paul Ossenmacher. Bonilla might not leave town with the Pirates.
Usher's trying to give a fan a little trouble by catching the foul ball. Doesn't want him to reach over the railing, and the rest of the fans really boo him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Mets are leading now 5-1 in Montreal. Strawberry and McReynolds hit homers in the 8th.
That one was
Jeffrey's triple that tied the ball game in the 6th.
That was lined into the seats, and I think somebody's hurt down there because that went in, and Barry Bonds is looking over there. I think it got a little kid, and they're waving frantically to get some help down there, and Bonds is walking over to find out what's going on. Boy, you have to be alert if you're going to be that close. That is a dangerous seat, and Bonds is very concerned.
He is really upset, Bonds is. He, of course, he had nothing to do with it except foul the ball. But the way the people were frantically waving for help. Barry Bonds gives the youngster his bat. He figures that that's the least he can do. And the concern of Bonds is something to point out. He as much as said, "The heck with the ball game. I want to see if this kid is hurt." And that's a noble gesture. I think that's the kid walking out now. So he's walking under his own. Here he is here. He's being carried out. Oh, I hope he's not hurt badly. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Barry Bonds. He fouls it back. I tell you, he takes as wicked a cut with his new bat as he did earlier with his old one.
He's supremely confident against left-handed pitchers. Let's see if Ostenmacher can ring him up on a breaking ball.
Ground ball sharply hit. Grace has it. Easy out. 1 out. 7-2 in favor of the Pirates. They won the first game of the series 9-1. They're going for their 9th victory in 12 games against the Cubs this year. There's a pitch foul back.
Jeff King has seen that batting average raised just a little bit. Doesn't sound like much in the 240s, but he was down under 200 for a long time this year. Milt May is working long and hard with him because he's got some natural power.
There's a ground ball. Salazar will throw him out. And he does. Two men out. There's a drive in the left, a base hit. Don Slott singles sharply to left.
Jose Lean hitting with a split grip, and Milt May says he can remember another player hitting with a split grip that hit for power, and that was Richie Zisk. Richie doing a good job in the Cub organization.
Here's the pitch in there, a strike call on Jose Lean, who's 1 out of 3. Foul back. 0-2 the count. Jose Lean, 1 out of 11 in the series. They don't need him to hit. I guess that's why he wears the number 13 on his back. All they need him for is to make the plays he does in the field. Van Slyke, Bonilla, and Bonds takes care of the hitting. There's a strike call on Lean. And another run. 2 hits and 1 man left. We go in the bottom of 7. The Pirates are leading 7-2. Hey! Let me hear you. On 1, on Gary, on 2, on 3. Me out to the ball game. Me out to the crowd. Find me some peanuts and root for the lobby. If they don't win, it's a shame for it.
Still fighters, attack shoppers, Jets that go Mach 2.
We're going to the bottom of 7, 7-2 in favor of the Pirates. Have outbanged the Cubs 12 hits to 9 in an errorless ball game. Stan Belinda's on the hill. In the bottom of the 7th, Sean Dunston will lead it off. He's 1 out of 3. The Cubs have stranded 10 men in 6 innings. So they've had a lot of chances. They left 2 on in the 1st, 1 on in the 2nd, 2 on in the 3rd, 2 on in the 4th, 1 on in the 5th, 2 on in the 6th. Dunston takes the pitch high. The Pirates won the first game 9-1. The Cubs won the second game yesterday 5-0. And it's 7-2 in favor of Pittsburgh today.
Stan Belinda, a big guy at 6'3", 200 pounds, out of Huntington, Pennsylvania. Made 3 stops last year at Harrisburg, Buffalo, before surfacing in Pittsburgh.
Swung at a breaking ball, missed in a mile. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wide, those 2-2. The Lindas had a victory against the Cubs this year in relief. There's a pitch foul back. 5-1 going to bottom of the 9th in Montreal in favor of the Mets. Strike 3 call. Dunston caught out on strikes.
Not very happy with the call of Jerry Lane. He thought that ball was a little off the corner. But Lane thought it was good enough, so Dunston will take a seat. We'll take another look at it. Slot wants it inside. Belinda goes outside with it. Close enough to be swinging.
There's Dawson, 2 out of 3 today, 2 singles. Strike call. Dawson hitting .334. Swung and he fouled it out of play. 0-2. Big crowd on hand. They haven't announced the numbers as yet. I would imagine it might be 35,000. Standing room only, I know. 0-2 the count. There it is, way back. It might be. It could be. It is a home run. His 20th home run of the year. And Dawson is 3 out of 4 for today. 7-3 ball game now.
RBI number 64, and that takes the team lead in RBIs. One ahead of Ryan Sandberg, and no doubt about that. Belinda finally left one of those fastballs over the inner half. He got it up, and Dawson hit it way back. Watch it again, and there's no doubt about it. The high heat. Andre loves these.
And now it's 7-3. Here's Salazar 0 for 3. Struck out twice. First pitch is in there. One ball, one strike.
That's only the second home run hit off Stan Belinda this year. And the bullpen up in a hurry for Pittsburgh.
July 7th at San Francisco.
July 7th in San Francisco, his last home run.
That was it.
Almost a month ago. 2 balls and the strike. Lowe gets away, ball 3. Belinda, big tall right-hander, throws sidearm. They got a left-hander and a right-hander in the bullpen. The Pirates do.
Bob Walk is the right-hander, and now a meeting at the mound to give the bullpen a chance to get loose.
We're in the bottom of the 7th.
Looks like Scott Ruskin is the left-hander.
Lancaster's limbering up for the Cubs. 3 balls and the strike. Long and he missed. 3-2. One out, one in. 7-3 Pittsburgh. Struck him out again. That's the 3rd time today that Salazar is fanned. And they're all swinging 3rd strikes, and they're all on curveball. Here's Grace. 2 out of 3. Curveball is in there, a strike call. The Cubs have pounded out 10 hits. Good for 3 runs. That evens it up. One pitch. Ball 2. Ball 3 low. DeCenzo due to be next. The wind blowing in from the east, southeast. There's a strike call, 3-2. Bonilla playing a shallow right field. Ball 4, he walked him. Here's DeCenzo. The Mets have beaten Montreal, and Viola's won his 15th game of the year for the Mets. They beat Dennis Martinez. Swings, fouls it back. 1 strike.
Doug's had a tough day today. Hasn't hit the ball particularly well. They're playing him around toward left center field with a gap in right center and down the line in right.
Swung and he missed. He looked overmatched on that. 0-2. Fouls it back. It looks like Doug really hasn't had a good cut up there today. The boy made a tremendous catch earlier in the game. 0-2. Struck him out. 1 run. Dawson's home run. 1 man left. He struck out the side, did Belinda, but Dawson's homered. So at the end of 7th, it's 7-3 in favor of the Pirates. Going to the top of the 8th. R.J. Reynolds is going to bat for Stan Belinda.
He's 7 for 27 with 7 RBIs as a pinch hitter and hitting .301 overall.
Ground ball. Salazar has it. Throws the first. Reynolds batting for Belinda. Grounds to Luis Salazar. That brings up Gary Ritas. He's 0 for 3 today. Pirates jumped in front on the starters, Steve Wilson, in the first inning on 4 solid hits in a row. A single by Jay Bell, the shortstop, a 2-run homer by Van Slyke, who was followed by another home run by Bonilla. Bobby Bonds in line to single. And Jeff King hit a line drive to left center like a bullet that Doug DeCenzo made a great catch on. 2 balls and a strike.
Looks like it's going to be Bill Landrum coming into the game for the Pirates. He's the man loosening in the pen for them.
He's their number 1 closer. Swung and he missed. 2-2. Landrum has won 3, lost 2, and saved 12. Ground ball. Salazar over to first. 2 gone.
Five plays the last 3 innings for Luis Salazar, so he's been a busy man. The damage done today by the middle of the order, as you would expect, Van Slyke, Bonilla, and Bonds.
Van Slyke has 11 home runs, 44 batted in. Bonilla, 23 home runs, 71 batted in. Barry Bonds, 19 homers and 80 runs batted in.
There is today's paid attendance, 34,493, 34493.
There's a looping fly ball. Clark cannot make the play. It's a base hit. Jay Bell drops a single in short left center.
Good effort by Dave Clark, but he comes up a little short. Looked for a bit like he was going to make the play, but the wind is batting it down. DeCenzo can't get anywhere near it, and Clark comes on, but has the ball hit out of his glove.
Here's Andy Van Slyke. He's 2 out of 3. Jay Bell is 2 out of 5. He's on at first base. Well, we're going to see Bonilla hit again. If not this inning, next inning.
That's good news.
I don't know about that. The law of averages certainly has got to be against him today. He's already got 3 out of 4, 2 homers and a double. He has 71 RBIs now for the year with 23 homers, Bonilla. High foul ball back out of play. Boy, the Pirates have won 8 out of 11. They're shooting for 9 out of 12 so far this year in head-to-head competition against the Cubs. There's a drive, deep right field. Fair ball into the corner. Here's a run going to score. Racing for the plate. Van Slyke pulls up a third with a triple. Boy, we can't get the good hitters out. This will give you an idea what a great game Greg Maddux pitched yesterday. These are the same hitters that he stopped and shut out.
Fourth triple of the year for Andy Van Slyke, RBI number 46. So Van Slyke, a double away from hitting for the cycle. And what an afternoon he's had, and what an improvement he's made hitting against left-hand pitchers.
Well, let's say that he cannot hit for a cycle today, because if he does, they will have made a lot more runs before he comes up again. Here's Bonilla already with 3 RBIs. Swings and he fouls the bat. You know the way these guys swing the bat, I swear. They swing like they know everything is being thrown. Yet the same guys that couldn't hit Greg Maddux yesterday. So that's a tribute to Maddox's ability. There's a slow roller that's going to score a run. There's a throw to first in time, and that retires the side. I thought he would beat it out, but he didn't. I forgot that Bonilla can hit, but he can't necessarily run. So 1 run scores. We go into the bottom of the 8th, and the score now is 8-3 in favor of the Pirates. Well, the Pirates have some changes. Bill Landrum comes in to pitch for them, and Sid Bream is playing first base, and R.J. Reynolds, who pinch hit, stays in the ballgame to play right field, replacing Bobby Bonilla.
Landrum has a brilliant ERA of 1.89 now for the 39th time. This is not a save situation. R.J. Reynolds stays in the game.
Girardi 2 out of 3 again today. He really keeps pounding that ball. Swung and he fouled it back. I finally got Bonilla on a little slow dribbler down the third base line. And he didn't get away from the plate at all. The power of his swing took him off balance. And Salazar threw him out. One ball, 1 strike. 8-3 in favor of the Pirates. The Cubs need an explosion, a rally, some hits and some runs. There's another hit for Girardi. Boy, he has really made himself a fine hitter. Girardi, 3 out of 4. A single to right center.
He's doing it by hitting the ball all over the field, and he's up to 299, raising his batting average 7 points with that 3 for 4. He also hit the ball very hard in the second inning when he lined out to Van Slyke.
Dave Clark, who drove it around with a sacrifice fly as a pinch hitter in the 6th, stayed in the ball game to play left. Fastball is high. Bill Landrum, who was with the Cubs 2 years ago. Runner at first. Ball is high. Marvell Wynn is going to bat for Walton. Well, Walton was out of the game anyway. Outside. Ball 3. Well, you never know. Baseball, such an unpredictable game. 3 balls, no strikes. Ball 4. Whoa, wait, take it back. Dave Clark had started to throw his bat away. Thinking it was ball 4. Listen to the crowd.
That pitch looked like it was about a foot outside. Let's take a look at where it is. Wait a second. That's not even close.
He swings at 3-1. Now, why wouldn't you take a pitch there? You're hungry and dying for a base run. Shouldn't you take a pitch?
Well, you're not dying or that hungry enough to take one, apparently.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled and out of play. 3 balls, 2 strikes. They're all hitters these days. Nobody walks anymore, it seems like, or doesn't think it's important. But everybody does it. 3-2. There's a drive way back. No doubt about that one. It could be out of here. And it is a home run. I guess he knew what he was doing. He didn't want to walk. He wanted it in the home run, which is his 4th of the year. And now it's an 8-5 ball game.
Third home run hit off of Bill Landrum, and Dave Clark is coming to the ball game in time to pick up 3 RBIs today. So he has 16 this year. On the 4th home run, a very happy Dave Clark and a very happy Cub dugout. They've whittled the lead. So watch it again. It's a fastball out over the plate, and Dave Clark, even into the wind, gets it all. R.J. Reynolds just looks up, and it's gone.
8-5 now. Here's Marvell Wynn. Takes a curveball low. He's pinch hitting. Here in the 8th. Curveball in there. That evens the count. The bullpen is working again for the Pirates. A left-hander and a right-hander.
Walking Ruskin.
Ball 2.
Mitch Williams up in the bullpen for the Cubs.
Marvell Wynn. Pinch hitting for Assenmacher.
1 strikeout, 1 home run. They made 2 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs.
Ball 3.
1 strikeout.
3 balls and the strike. Come on. Only 3 runs behind. He swings at a 3-1 pitch, fouls it off. 3-2. Bill Landrum, in his first inning of work, has faced 2 men, giving up 2 runs. There's a looper in the left center field, a base hit. So Marvell Wynn is on. And here is Sandberg.
See how patient Jim Leland is with Bill Landrum, who has come in, tossed a little gasoline on the fire. As you look at Bob Walk, the right-hander on the left.
That's going to be all. Yeah. Here comes Bill Leland out. And a new pitcher is going to be coming in. We'll tell you more about him following this message. Jim Leland must be thinking about that game about a week ago in Montreal when they went ahead with 3 in the top of the 10th. And only to have Montreal come back and get 4 to beat them. Here's Sandberg. Curveball in there. Bob Walk started the first game of the series, was hurt fielding a ground ball. But he's okay. He's back in there today.
Making his first relief appearance of the year after 17 starts.
He's won 5. He's lost 4. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He went 1+ innings, and then Dave Clark hit one right off his pitching hand in the second. He had to leave the ball game. He's a breaking ball pitcher.
Here's the pitch. High pop foul, back out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It looks like Sandberg has gotten one of these little periods where he's trying to pull everything. One ball, 2 strikes. Whoa, he struck him out on a bad pitch. There's the first out of the inning. And here comes Dunston up. He's got 1 out of 4 today.
That breaking ball was a foot outside. Rhino had no chance. Mitch Williams continues to throw in the Cub bullpen.
Bob Walk gets ready. Throws the first. Hey, throws it in the dirt. Sid Bream scooped it up. Win a lead. Great play by the third baseman. Throws the first in time. And again, Bream scooped out a low throw. Jeff King, kind of guarding the line, came up with that smash and threw Dunston out.
Jim Leland put Sid Bream at first base at the right time. Inserted for defense. He's made a couple of pretty good plays.
One man out, or two men out rather.
Apparently they're going to change the signs because Don Slott has gone to the mound and he's talked to Jose Lean. Now Lean going and talking with Jay Bell. They want to know what's coming in case he goes to the breaking ball, so you can anticipate Andre Dawson pulling the ball.
Cubs have gone over the 1,400,000 mark at home this year. Fastball in there, a strike call. Dawson homered in the 7th off of Stan Belinda. Now he's facing Bob Walk. Wrong, and he missed the curveball. He missed that pitch as far as Ryan Sandberg had missed the pitch he struck out on. Dawson having a great series, hitting .500. One ball, 2 strikes. Walk now can qualify for a save. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A slow roller. He may beat it out. He does beat it out. An infield hit for Andrew Dawson.
4 for 5 for Dawson today, including the long ball and a couple of RBIs. Jeff King has had problems all day getting the ball out of the glove. This is no exception, as he doesn't want to pull the trigger, and Dawson now up to .338, 7 points on the batting average.
Boy, the importance of a fine play by King on Dunston's smash down the third baseline a moment ago becomes an important play. Here's Salazar, who struck out 3 times today. Curve low and outside. Mark Grace is next. The tying runners at the plate. The score is 8-5 in favor of Pittsburgh. Curve is in there, a strike call.
Ruskin continues to throw, and he'll probably be used to face Mark Grace if Salazar can keep it alive.
1 ball, 1 strike. Curve low. 2 balls and the strike. Veteran right-hander Bob Walk. There's a drive into left center field, going to be caught. Salazar flies out to Van Slyke. However, the 2 runs pulled the Cubs a little closer. At the end of 8, they trail 8-5. There's a new pitcher. And Barry Bonds, who's 2 out of 4 today, smashes it. Oh, a great stop by Grace. He robbed Bonds of a hit, of an extra base hit, with a diving stop on a smash down the first base line.
Looks like this one's ticketed for the right field corner, but Mark Grace is able to knock it down with a diving lunge and make the play. So Williams comes on. Appearance number 37, 1-6 record this year.
1 out. Bob Walk has a chance at his first save of the year. There's a base hit. King lines a single to left. Going to bring up Don Slott, the catcher.
2 batters, 2 rockets, and Mitch Williams has got to start working on that breaking ball that he showed early in the year. In spring training, he got everything over. It looked like a pretty good pitch for him, but he says that he just hasn't had the feel for it. As a 1-pitch pitcher, unless that pitch is 98 miles an hour or sinks out of sight, you've got some problems.
The last time, there's a high fly ball going to be caught. Andre Dawson has it, 2 out. The last time Walk had a save was 4 years ago in 1986 when he had 2 saves in the course of the year. Nothing in 87, nothing in 88, nothing in 89, and this is the first chance he's had in 90. 2 out, Jose Lean, the hitter. Low and outside. One ball, no strikes. Grace will lead off in the bottom of the 9th. The count evened up at 1-1. Outside, 2-1. The Cubs have never been retired in order in this game.
They've left 12 men on to 8 for the Pirates to this point.
Fouled out of play. Pico retired them in order only 1 time. That's the only time in the 6th inning. They went down 1-2-3, and the Cubs have not gone out 1-2-3 yet. Dawson in foul territory. 1 hit, 1 man left. We go into the bottom of the 9th, 8-5 Pittsburgh. Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. The first pitch to Mark Gray. Base hit. Grace gets his third hit of the day. A line single to left.
Mark Grace put 5 points on his batting average, hitting .287, and sometimes it looks so easy. But Mark Grace knows about how difficult it can be.
Varsho is going to be the pinch hitter for DeCenzo. Varsho, 6 out of 14 is a pinch hitter. Curve inside. Varsho hitting .388.
Scott Ruskin continues to throw in the bullpen for the Pirates.
The 1 RBI he has won the ball game in Montreal. Swung and he missed. A ball and a strike. Girardi will be next, shooting for his 4th hit of the day. One pitch. Curveball outside, ball 2. The Cubs trailing by 3. Double play ball is short. Steps on second, throws the first, and that takes care of that. Bell to Breen.
Pretty good pitch by Bob Walk. He kept the fastball away from Varsho. We'll take a look at it. Hit it right at Jay Bell. Perfect position for the 2.
Girardi. A high pump foul. King over by the stands, can't reach it. 0-1 the count.
Most unusual opportunity for Bob Walk. Here's a man who's been a starter all year long, has spent some time on the disabled list, and he finds himself in the stopper role.
The pitch is a record of his starting pitchers. That's it. Fly ball to left, Barry Bonds. And the Pirates have won the rubber game of the series. Keep pace with the Mets, who are 1 game ahead of them. The final score, Pittsburgh 8, the Cubs 5. We'll be back in a moment. Van Slyke hit a home run into the left field bleachers with a man on to put the Pirates ahead 2-0, and they were never headed the rest of the way. And thus, that is the Budweiser play of the game, Andy Van Slyke's 2-run homer in the first inning. Well, a lot of hits, 30 hits today between these two teams. The Cubs stranded 12 men, and the Pirates stranded 9. And it goes to show you, it's still a game of pitching no matter how much hitting is in the ball game. The Cubs did not have very good pitching today, and they lost the ball game. They didn't have very good pitching the first game of the series. They lost 9-1. They had great pitching yesterday. They won 5-0. And they had bad pitching today, and they lost 8-5. So when Connie Mack, the venerable old owner of the Philadelphia A's many years ago, said that pitching is 80% of the game, you know he knew what he was talking about. Well, we'll have the totals for you now in a moment. For the Philadelphia Phillies, 8 runs, 15 hits. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, 8 runs, 15 hits, no errors. 9 men left. The winner, John Smiley. He now has won 5 and lost 5. And the man who gets a save his first in 4 years, veteran right-hander Bob Walk, who started the first game of the series, came back to get the save here today, his first, of course, of the year. For the Cubs, 5 runs, 15 hits, no errors. They stranded 12. Their loser was Steve Wilson. He won it now as 1-3 and lost 7. Well, that's the ball game. A lot of hitting.